This week on Chuckload of Comics, Infinity War has landed. John Wick returns in comic book form, and Forbes magazine is the most hated publication ever to grace this great land. Stick around, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be streaming live on Facebook. This is Chuckload of Comics Live. Hello and welcome to Chuckload of Comics streaming live on Facebook.
That's right.
Welcome to the Facebook live stream, everybody. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
If you're unfamiliar with Chuckload of Comics and what we are and what we do, we are a weekly YouTube show. Chuckload of Comics, we give you kind of the nerdy week in review. We talk about comic books, obviously. We talk about movies, television, anything that went on in the world of nerdy news throughout the week.
That's right.
Find us on YouTube. Look for Chuckload of Comics. Please click that subscribe button on YouTube, because we're trying to build a wonderful subscriber base of like-minded people.
That's right. Like-minded people. Keyword there.
So we're something happened this week, right? There was a big to-do everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it. What would that be, Chuck?
That would be the Avengers Infinity War.
What?
Avengers 3. We're going to be talking in a totally non-spoiler discussion. It's not even a review. It's going to be a discussion of this film.
Sorry,
we're not going to
Jonathan.
give any spoilers. We're not going to give you any plot details. All we're basically going to be talking about is our experience at the theater, non-specifics of things that we liked about it. There was really nothing I didn't like about it, but just kind of a discussion about what the MCU has come to after 10 years of movie making, 18 films, has led to this groundbreaking movie.
No, so
Avengers
good.
Infinity War. It's absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it. But don't worry, we're not going to spoil it at all. Our cat hasn't seen it, and he's worried about spoilers over there, so we're not going to ruin it for Walter. Before we get into Infinity War, I want to give a big, huge shout-out and a thank you to the guys at the Chumpcast.
Yeah.
The Chumpcast is a pretty badass, popular podcast here in Chicago. You can find them on iTunes. Just look for the Chumpcast. They talk about lots of crazy stuff, nerdy stuff, comic book stuff, pop culture stuff. Find them on iTunes. They invited me to be a guest on their show this morning.
So cool. Thank you guys. That's awesome. You got him out of the house for a couple hours.
I got to explode about Infinity War on the Chumpcast this morning, and it was the greatest thing ever. Keeping all this Infinity stuff bottled up was giving me chronic diarrhea, and they allowed me to explode my diarrhea all over their studio. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Chumpcast. Check them out on iTunes.
Fair warning, though. That is a spoiler review, so big-time spoiler.
We talked for an hour and 45 minutes about
Chuck
Infinity War.
got to word vomit in a good way.
Oh, it felt
All
so
of
good.
this
It was like
stuff
taking a
filled up.
big emotional dump right in their house. It was wonderful. So we're going to talk about comic books real quick. There's one comic book that is just exploding.
Yeah.
Everybody's loving it. If you're a fan of John Wick,
Absolutely. Who isn't a fan of John Wick?
Shauna's a fan of John Wick.
Huge fan of John Wick.
Who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? Who doesn't love John Wick? John Wick's a comic book now. If you didn't know that, it's an amazing comic book. And here, all the way from New Jersey, to tell us about the John Wick phenomenal comic book that's out is Ryan from 2G1 Reviews. Ryan is one of our very, very good friends, a long-time friend of Chuckload of Comics. If you don't know 2G1 Reviews and you haven't watched our show that much, 2G1 Reviews, you can find them on YouTube. Just YouTube search 2G1 Reviews. They do movie reviews, they do comic book reviews, they do an amazing show called the best comedies you've never heard of. The guy's a phenomenal editor. He knows everything about everything. So check out 2G1 Reviews. So without further ado, here is Ryan at 2G1 Reviews giving us your review of the John Wick comic book. Let's see it.
Hey there, everybody. This is Ryan from 2G1, and today we're talking John Wick.
We call him Baba Yaga.
John Wick is hands down my favorite action movie of all time. It's just balls to the wall, crazy action. The sequel is pretty great too, and expanded on the shady assassin universe that John Wick inhabits.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil. With a fucking pencil.
But a John Wick comic? It can't be good, right? Dynamite Comics loves to grab these entertainment properties and make comic books out of them. Sometimes they produce some great stuff, like Mike Carey's Barbarella or Amy Chu's new Green Hornet. And sometimes you get Garfield and Grumpy Cat, or Kiss an Army of Darkness, or Centipede. Oh lord, Centipede. But John Wick the comic book isn't some crap just thrown together by a no-name writer to make a quick buck for Dynamite Comics to cash in on an existing property. The first 2 issues? Insanely good. The book is a prequel featuring John Wick in his very early days as an assassin. Now, Wick is on the hunt for some men who did him very wrong when he was young. This actually leads him to Sharon, who we all know from the films as the concierge of the Continental Hotel, New York. Coincidence that this is the building right across from where John is living? Yet not so much. John rushes over and gets right into it, killing every single person in the place. Bam, 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 bam! Everybody to help this guy out.
There was a firefight!
It seems that the two actually know each other, and that John met Sharon as a kid. Now that John is all grown up and a killing machine, it's time to introduce him a bit deeper into the assassin world and aid him in hunting down the rest of the men he is seeking revenge on. Except, as per usual, everyone, and I mean everyone, wants John Wick dead. Muerte. The more out to kill John, the more men we know will end up dead. I really dig the artwork here by Giovanni Valletta, but the big draw is writer Greg Pak. I absolutely love his writing, long a favorite since his Planet Hulk days. Pak is able to take the mythology we've been given and expand it beautifully, and the result is a must-read book. It is a love letter to John Wick fans. As we all wait for John Wick 3 to land in theaters, it is good to know that Dynamite is producing a quality book to tide us over. This series so far, A+. So John Wick the comic is very much a comic worth checking out. I'm Ryan from 2G1. You can catch us at the links below. Let's get back to Chuck and Shauna talking about Avengers this and Avengers that, and no, seriously, Avengers Infinity War is pretty awesome.
Ryan, thank you so much. I cannot wait to put John Wick on my pull list
I
at
know.
Chicago Comics.
I'm ashamed to say it, but we haven't read it yet. There's 2 issues out. Issue 2 just came out.
Issue 2 did just come
this
out?
past week, Wednesday, so perfect. And yes, Ryan, we're going to be talking about Avengers.
Of course we are. What else went on this week that wasn't Avengers related? Nothing. That's what, except for, of course, the John Wick comic book. So kicking things right off. Again, this is a non-spoiler discussion.
Yep.
We will not ruin the movie for you at all. Shauna, give me your initial reactions to Marvel's Avengers Infinity War.
Holy crap is what I have to say. I'm just like, you're so full of emotions coming out of the movie. It's insane. And they just did an amazing job portraying all the characters, because you know there's a massive amount of characters in this movie. So the fact that everybody got their spotlight was really cool.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job at that.
What were some of your favorite characters in the movie?
Well, I love Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange was great.
I know. He's so great. Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
Iron Man, I mean, Thor, the Guardians. Who wasn't my favorite? Thanos. Hello, Thanos.
Oh my God, we're gonna get into Thanos in a little bit. This guy right
hey,
here.
Lindsay Cole.
Thanos was great. My big takeaway from the film, and again, no spoilers at all. What I love and what I respect about what Marvel did this go around was that going into this movie, I didn't know what I was going to get.
Yes.
And it not only met it checked off every box of everything that I wanted to see.
Right.
And I had a physical box I was checking. It checked every box, but it gave me so much more. It gave me more than I even thought I was going to see.
More boxes to check.
Yeah. And they didn't spoil it. They did such a good job of non-spoilering the movie.
Yeah.
The trailers were edited perfectly.
Yep.
If you had an idea of what you were going to see in this movie, chances are you didn't get exactly what you were thinking. And that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, and it's
the movie.
okay too, because what you were given, you may not have expected, but as you see it develop, you appreciate it that much more. It works on all levels, especially for the fan. I mean, this movie was made for the fans, and
it is. And that explains a lot, I think, about the Rotten Tomatoes score. The critics are here, but the fans are coming out in droves.
Yep.
They are speaking out about how much they love the movie. The Russo brothers made a movie for the fans, and you can tell that they took their time. They took their sweet time in crafting this amazing story. It felt like something that was aged. It felt like something that was a long time coming. Kevin Feige and the people over at Marvel, they spent the last 10 years planting seeds of these characters, and you finally see these characters. These seeds have now come full bloom.
Full fruition.
And you know them all now, and you love them all now, and they bring you what you love most about all of these characters. They do it perfectly. They do it flawlessly. Iron Man, you feel the emotion of Tony Stark. You feel it was a wonderful return to form for Thor.
Yes.
I thought, I loved Thor Ragnarok, but a lot of fans were like, they weren't totally down with the Taika Waititi's take on the Thor universe. This felt very much like the original Thor. It felt like the Nordic god Thor that everybody loves about the character, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
True.
I'm just going to vomit here all over you. There's so much I want to talk about this, and again, no spoilers.
But, I mean, to go back to the Thor reference you were just making, it did feel like the Nordic god Thor, but at the same time, he still had that comedic aspect to him that he took from Thor Ragnarok, which was great. So it's like a mixture of the two.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about if they were going to go too far with the comedic element of this movie, because you got James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, comedic genius. Right there, and then you mix that with the Taika Waititi version of Thor. It's very funny. I was worried that it was going to be maybe a little too many jokes, but it wasn't. The movie needed jokes because it's such an action-packed film. It's such a dramatic movie that every time you hear a joke, it's almost like it's a breath of fresh air. It's a relief to just calm down for a second and laugh at a joke. And the jokes were so well crafted.
Perfect.
Spider-Man was wonderful with all his little quips. Were great. Iron Man, Tony Stark was his classic, just funny
douchebaggery and
Iron Man. Yeah, Doctor Strange.
It was great.
The interaction between Tony Stark and Doctor Strange was fantastic. And yeah, it felt well crafted. It felt like they took their time and just made an amazing movie. Shauna, okay, so going into this movie, for people, if you're watching the show, you've probably seen every single MCU movie, and if you haven't, that's okay.
What's your problem?
Sean, what do you think are a couple of the MCU movies that are must-watches before you go into Infinity War?
Okay, so before we saw the movie, we were saying Guardians 1 for sure, because that's your introduction. They give a really good description as to what Infinity Stones are and where they came from, and Thanos is in Guardians 1, and then also... What do we got? Captain America is a good one.
Captain America is a
must-watch. Because that's the very
must-watch.
first Infinity Stone that you end up seeing. You see the Tesseract for the first time.
You see the Tesseract and...
But one that I thought that I didn't think of before seeing the movie was Doctor Strange. I feel like Doctor Strange is now a pretty important movie to see before going to see this movie.
Yeah.
He plays a major role, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but Doctor Strange has a time stone. It's the Eye of Agamotto, as he wears it around his chest, and that just all plays a huge part in this movie. So I think Doctor Strange is an important one to see.
I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they gave...
Yeah,
it was wonderful to see the Avengers with the new characters involved. And this is nothing you haven't seen in the trailers, but to see the Avengers, but then the introduction of Spider-Man, who is now like a member of the team, and to see Doctor Strange
that was cool too.
working with the Avengers, because Doctor Strange movie was fantastic.
Yep.
But you just got a little bit of him in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
And the little you did get in Thor Ragnarok was genius. It was hilarious. But to see him actually, it was kind of like Civil War was very much an Iron Man movie, even though it was a Captain America movie.
That's definitely a must-watch also.
This felt almost like a Doctor Strange movie. It did. And
it was good.
They did such a good job of giving everybody the screen time that they needed and the screen time that they deserved.
Perfect. Now, that being said, there were a few characters that you might have wanted to see more of.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but given the mass amount of like heroes and villains that were in this movie, you couldn't give a huge... I was going to reference that in a second.
Okay.
You couldn't give the same amount of screen time to everybody. So some people just got the short end of the stick. But it worked. They picked the right people. It worked. It was great.
It's kind of hard to cram 35 to 40 Avengers characters into one movie and give everybody the same amount of spotlight.
I think Scarlett Johansson was on one of the late night shows and said there were 63 Marvel characters in this movie.
I think that's over the course of the next two movies, or this one and the next one, because there certainly wasn't 63 characters in this movie. But all the characters that you love were there. Again, the humor and the drama. Shauna, without obviously any spoilers, what were some of your favorite team-ups in the movie? Just based on things that people probably have already seen in the trailers.
Well, we already talked about the Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, like, meetup. I think that was great. I love seeing those two together, and they're both just super smart guys that are on the edge of being, like, jerky douchebags, but so seeing them interact together is just kind of cracked me up a little bit. And then you throw Spider-Man in the mix. The three of them, that was great.
Yeah,
I
Tom
loved seeing
Holland.
that.
Tom Holland was fantastic.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, everything you loved about Tom Holland and Spider-Man in Civil War, you get so much more of it in Infinity War. It's almost a perfect film.
Yeah.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Almost.
It's so much fun. I mean, obviously, I give it an 11 out of 10, hands down. It's up to this point, I think Guardians was my favorite MCU movie, followed very closely by Civil War. This one, I think, jumps right to the top.
Oh, yeah,
It
for
really
sure.
is. I can't wait to go see it again. I can't wait to go see it 2-3 times this weekend. I might go see it 5 times before it's out of the expensive theaters and then the second runs and all that.
Antonio Medina's got a couple comments here. One, he says he gives it 100 out of 10.
100 out of 10. I like your style, Tony.
Love it, Tony. And two, for all of you out there that don't know this, which is probably all of you, Chuck and Tony put together this nice little challenge, Infinity War challenge,
right.
before we went to go see the movie. It had multiple questions on it. Like, some of the questions were, would a Fox character appear, and who would win,
it was a pre-movie
Thanos
pool,
or the Avengers? And so we all filled out this pool, right? Well, I hate to say it, but I don't think there was a winner out of a single one of us.
I think we all lost our pool.
We all lost.
And that's just a testament to how well they did in not spoiling the movie. Nobody knew what they were going to get when they came into this movie, and they got everything emotionally that they wanted.
Yeah.
But the beats,
were
you never
not-
saw coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
great.
everything
It's
you
fantastic.
thought you knew about what this movie was going to be, it's probably not what you got out of the movie.
Maybe some people hit some of the beats, but man, you're a genius if you did. it's Jonathan didn't get the email for that.
Man.
Sorry.
We can find it on actionfigurejunkies.com.
Yeah.
Go to the Action Figure Junkies site on Facebook. You will find our pool.
But it's too late now because you've already seen the movie.
The last thing I want to say about Avengers Infinity War before we wrap up this segment of the show is I want to give a big finger to Forbes magazine.
Right?
Forbes magazine sucks. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Stupid Forbes.
Marvel took such care in not having this movie spoiled for the fans. They aligned the domestic and international release together.
Yep.
They moved the Hollywood premiere to just 3 mere days before the movie launched globally.
Yeah.
They sent a letter to everybody saying, do not spoil this movie for the fans. They sent it to all the publications.
Yep.
What does Forbes magazine do?
The day the embargo lifts.
No, not even the day the embargo lifts. What do? They write an article in Forbes magazine that just lists all of the spoilers in the movie, and they put that out to the world. And it wasn't like, hey, we were sitting down with Dave Bautista and he told us this little spoiler. No,
They
the
just
oral
literally
article
printed like a list of number 1 through 50.
Yeah, the article is just a list of spoilers and said, here, have it. All you haters, all you trollers out there on the internet, here's all the bullets you need to ruin the movie for everybody. So fuck you, Forbes. You suck. I'm so pissed at Forbes magazine. I hope they never get invited to another premiere. As long as I live, I hope their entire production just goes tits up. I hate Forbes.
They're not getting invited to any Disney or Marvel premieres in the next few near any time, probably ever.
I really, really hope not. So to hell with Forbes, you suck. Fuck you, Forbes is the theme of the day. So anyway, we're moving on from the Infinity War thing. A lot of other...
Fine.
Do you have anything more you want to say that's non-spoilery?
I just love it. It was so good.
It's great. You got to go see it again. Some other amazing things that dropped.
Jonathan says we need to trademark "fuck you, Forbes."
Fuck you, Forbes. Hashtag
fuck you,
Forbes. Make it so. Other amazing things that happened this week. We saw our first trailer for Venom, and I got a funny little story about that. We were sitting outside Avengers Infinity War, and there was this family sitting next to us, a mother and all their kids.
Oh, yeah.
And the Venom trailer came on just before Infinity War, and the mother told all the kids, cover your eyes, cover your ears, this is a scary trailer, don't watch it. And it was a scary trailer.
It's a scary trailer.
Shauna, did you like the Venom trailer? Did you not like it?
I did. I liked the Venom trailer. I know people are hating on it a little bit. They don't like the way...
the CG of it? Oh, God.
What's his... Oh,
Could we just say
horrible.
symbiote? Or no, symbiote.
Symbiote. That pissed me off. I didn't like that at all. No, they don't like the way Eddie Brock talks. They don't like the way, like, I don't know. I think it's
He does
fun.
have this weird Eastern kind of.
So what? We
weird
don't know
Boston
how he
accent.
sounds. I mean, it's a movie.
I thought it looked great.
And yes, the CGI doesn't look that good, but
It
they
needs
still have
another
time to fix
pass.
that.
They got till October to fix the CGI. I'm stoked about it. I thought the Venom trailer was great. It looks very scary. It looks like because they set out to make an R-rated Venom movie. They said it's going to be like Spider-Man meets Alien. That's how kind of they described what they were going to try to craft out of this film. I think based on the trailer, they might have succeeded. It's a very scary trailer.
Very, very great comment from Jonathan.
Jonathan,
he said,
hit us.
So Venom is weird since they can't really mention Spider-Man.
Good point.
He's
Let's talk
so
about that
correct.
for just a second. Here's the thing. I mean, everybody knows who Venom. If you don't know much about Venom, the reason Venom looks the way he does, with the big bug eyes and the tentacles and the way he uses his powers, the fact that he has a giant spider on his chest, is because he's taking all of the characteristics of Spider-Man. The symbiote that was attached to Spider-Man left Spider-Man and attached to Eddie Brock, but he keeps all those Spider-Man traits. So the question to you people is, how the hell do you do Venom without Spider-Man?
I have a small theory to that. I think because you see in the trailer that they have this symbiote in the lab. Symbiote people. They have the symbiote in the lab. I think maybe it's already detached from Spider-Man and they find it after the fact.
Could be.
Maybe, so that at least it's got the memory and I don't know.
Or maybe there's a spider in the
You're
lab.
like, that doesn't make sense though.
None of it makes sense. I mean, I get you,
Spiders
Jonathan.
don't look like Spider-Man.
I completely agree with you. It's hard to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man. They have said Peter Parker is going to have an appearance in the movie, but they didn't say Spider-Man. They just said Tom Holland, Peter Parker is going to be in the film.
Jonathan says
We'll see.
What you just said. He said, looks really cool, but what's going to be the picture on his chest? It can't be a spider, basically.
It'll be a big V or
Yeah,
something.
or
it'll be
nothing.
nothing. Or it'll just be a big
black
blob
of CGI.
I am excited about it. I wasn't blown away by the trailer, but I did.
liked it.
I really enjoyed
thought
it.
It was good.
Other movie news.
Yeah?
Han Solo. Who's excited about the Han Solo movie? Raise your hand.
Finally, I'm excited about Han Solo.
Yeah. It took a while, but based on the last couple trailers, I got super stoked.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
excited about it.
Alden Ehrenreich just signed a 3-movie deal
What?
with Disney.
Are
So
you serious?
that's pretty cool. 3 movies. So if this movie's good, if this movie's great, if it makes a ton of money, and if Ron Howard can craft an amazing Han Solo movie, we may have more Han Solo movies on the horizon.
Interesting. Or
Which I
does
think
that
is
mean
crazy
you
interesting.
have like Chewie movies or?
Well, no, it's
Oh,
Alden Ehrenreich. As an
Yeah,
actor, signed on for 3 more movies.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
if this movie's a dud and it fizzles out, maybe we won't see any more Han Solo movies.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Because it's funny, Felicity Jones also had a 3-movie deal signed, who, if you saw Rogue One, you know there won't be any sequels to her
Right,
character.
That's true. Or they could, you know what they could do is Lando movie.
Right.
The young Lando movie, and then of course he would make an appearance in that.
Or the Boba Fett movie.
Oh,
They could make a Boba Fett movie, and they want to make sure they have Alden Ehrenreich on contract.
Exactly.
Because they talked about making a Boba Fett movie, and how do you do a Boba Fett movie without at least a Han Solo cameo? Or if they do a whole Jabba the Hutt movie, you're going to want to put Han
very
Solo
true.
in there. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
3-movie deal for Alden, even though the movie hasn't come out yet. So fingers crossed that Solo's good, because let's keep this Star Wars train rolling.
Hey, Mark. Mark is on.
Hey, Mark's our former neighbor. He's live right next door. Mark, you missed the Infinity War part, but that's okay. A couple other things that happened in the world of movies this week. Some sequels. Some sequels are out. Paramount announced a whole bevy of sequels. Cinemacon was in Las Vegas this week. If you're unfamiliar with what Cinemacon is,
I am unfamiliar with Cinemacon.
it's essentially an industry convention. It's not something that fans can come to. It's where the production houses, all the studios go to this giant convention in Las Vegas called Cinemacon. It's where it's kind of like the upfront presentation for television. They roll out trailers and stuff. They showed a trailer for the upcoming movie Mr. Glass. That's where they showed the Venom trailer for the first time. And Paramount announced some sequels, which I think are pretty freaking interesting.
Drum roll.
First up is a sequel to The Quiet Place. Is announced. If you haven't seen A Quiet Place, go see it. The movie's amazing.
It's so good. So good.
Shauna, okay.
Not as good as Infinity War, but...
Sequel to Quiet Place. Give me the elevator pitch. What's it going to be?
You caught me
I have
off
an
guard.
idea.
What's your idea?
My idea is if you're going to do a sequel to A Quiet Place, you don't do a straight-up sequel.
Okay.
I would like to see
The prequel?
not even a prequel. I want to see an exact same time, but in some other place on the planet.
Oh, interesting.
Same thing, same situation, same timeline, kind of like what they did with Cloverfield.
Okay.
And 10 Cloverfield Lane,
Okay.
but like what happens in like a large city when you have to be totally quiet? That could be a really interesting take on
Oh,
it.
yeah, right.
Speaking of Cloverfield, another sequel that was announced is the sequel to Cloverfield. Crickets.
I'm confused because there's been multiple Cloverfields.
But you're wrong.
Well,
you're
there's
right.
only been one Cloverfield.
Right.
So is this like a Cloverfield 2?
What they said is this is going to take place right after the events of
Cloverfield.
the first Cloverfield movie.
That makes sense.
Which I don't get,
Colin.
because spoiler alert, if you didn't see Cloverfield 1, they drop a freaking nuclear bomb on New York and everybody gets killed. But it's because the other Cloverfield
This
movies...
was a non-spoiler show.
All right, you're right. Then I'll move right on to Jumanji 2 has been announced.
Yes! Same cast?
Jumanji, that has not yet been announced. But I don't see how you do Jumanji 2 without bringing back The Rock, bringing back Jack Black,
Right?
Karen Gillian, who am I missing?
What's his name? Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. I don't think you can do it without that core group. It's already been announced for a winter 2019 release, so this thing is being fast-tracked.
Jonathan's got some comments about our movies. First of all, he says, let's be honest, Boba Fett is the worst character.
Let's not. No, I disagree 100%. I will not agree with you, Jonathan. Boba Fett's not the worst character.
Second is his name for the sequel of A Quiet Place is The Loud Place, where you have to keep shouting.
I love that idea. No. Yeah, I do. That's okay. How about just a quieter place?
Quieter.
Like, what's quieter than quiet? I don't know. Find out next year. Yeah, Jumanji 2, pretty stoked about that. Jumanji 1 was fantastic. It was top of the box office
Not
for
Jumanji
like
1, the
6 months.
the most recent Jumanji.
Why didn't they make a sequel to the original Jumanji with Robin Williams? That seemed like it was a movie ripe for sequeling.
Yeah.
They never did, though.
I mean, I guess that's what this was.
Last thing Paramount announced was not only are they making the one Star Trek movie, the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie that
Oh
was
my
announced,
gosh!
there's going to be a second Star Trek movie. They've announced 2 Star Trek movies are currently in development. And that's cool.
I'm speechless.
I like that.
Do you people know about the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie?
I think they do. I think they must.
Oh my gosh, when is that supposed to come out? Do we have a date?
It's still in development. They're still
I
writing
mean,
it. No,
But he's
there's
basically
no dates.
writing and directing this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I can't believe that. That's going to be so cool.
Some of the fan theories out there for Star Trek 2, the 2 Star Trek movies that are coming out, is they're going to try to do the mirror universe. If you're familiar with Star Trek and the Star Trek comic books, you can tell the story, but then there's a mirror to the story. Like you get one side of the story in movie number 1, and you get the other side of the exact same story. Kind of like how Clint Eastwood did Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima.
Oh, yeah.
Same story
Okay.
from 2 different angles. Something
Nice.
like that.
Okay, that's cool.
They certainly could do. So anyway,
like that.
that's it. A lot of sequels to look forward to, people.
Interesting.
None more important than Avengers Infinity War, the Avengers 4, whatever that could be.
Coming out next year.
Super excited, super
And
excited.
Chuck said whatever that could be because we don't know the name of it. Because
Yeah.
apparently the Russo brothers said the name in and of itself would spoil the movie for everyone.
Any
So-
ideas for the name for Avengers 4?
No, because it would be a spoiler. You can't say that. It's a non-spoiler review. I do have some in my head, but I'm not telling you.
My idea for the I don't know, Iron Man Rusts. How about that? That'll be it. That'll be it. That was so stupid.
That was
Anyway,
dumb.
guys, thanks a lot for watching. We're going to go see Avengers Infinity War again right now. If you're still watching the show, which you probably aren't, we really appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Chuckaload Comics, and check out the Chumpcast.
Good name, Jonathan.
Those guys are absolutely amazing. And, of course,
A New Hope.
2G...
Jonathan's was A New Hope.
Avengers A New Hope. I love it.
He had one before that, but I think that's a spoiler as well, so I'm not gonna say that.
No, that's a Star Wars reference.
No.
Avengers Strikes Back.
Yeah, you're right. Antonio's
Return of
plotting
the
or waving
Avengers.
again. Hi- Bye, Antonio.
Bye, Antonio Medina. Thanks for watching, guys. Check us out on YouTube every single Sunday. Chuckload of Comics. Click that subscribe button. Sean, anybody you want to say hi to? Okay, all right then. Let's wrap this up. Thanks a lot for watching. We will see you guys here next time.
Thanks, Robert. Robert
Zippy
Filbert says you guys are great live.
Zippy's on just in time. Goodbye, Zippy. See you here next Sunday or Saturday. Goodbye.